Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. And as you can tell, I've just completed my honeymoon. Woo! Luckily, we have a lot to do here on the HermitCraft server while I talk to you about that. I was so excited to come in here and just talk about my honeymoon. I realized I haven't done a video where I talked about getting married either. So we're going to talk about the wedding first and some honeymoon stuff as well. Look at this fantastic... This isn't technically a wedding gift. B-Dubs made an episode while I was gone about something with name tags and horses. I don't know. Go watch his channel to check that out. But he bought me out for name tags. So look at this. I've got plenty of new hello, my name is laser tag things here to come in. Ah, that's so many. I don't even have room in my inventory. Oh no, what am I going to do with these? I guess we can stack some of those there. Yeah, we'll make that work. Wow! B-Dubs has provided us with enough diamonds to feed Ungoliant with both hands! But, you know what I think? I think I'd rather feed Etho. I want to try that Frogger game. And after that, we're going to do some work around my base and talk about the wedding and the honeymoon. Time skip! Oh no, I went away too fast. Etho sent Doc and I a message saying that because y'all don't have mailboxes, I've left you your invites to the Frogger game inside the mail facility. Now, this is a pretty cool facility. I really love Pearl's attention to detail on every project undertaken. Look at this cute little mail truck. Like, this is just so adorable. I have the capacity to adore it all day. But I don't expect... Oh, I fixed it. I don't expect y'all to indoor me adoring this thing. Sorry, I got thrown off by rotating that headlight. I really don't want to break anything in here. Like I said, because I'm not on the mail network, I don't spend a lot of time in here. It might be worthwhile to get putting in my mailbox coordinates as a goal for the end of this episode. I'm so far out. I was waiting for Doc to put in his, because we would be on the same main branch line, since both of our bases are, 1,000 blocks north. Mine's like 1,000. His is like 2,000. So I was like, okay. But you know what? It would be off the same tunnel that B-Dubs is on. And I think, yeah, B-Dubs is set up now. So anyway, let's go check over here and see. Hey, there it is. Green shulker box for Doc and green shulker box for Joe. So it looks like there's a few coins we can use. Oh, wait. The frog key lets you enter Ravager Rush. Okay, so he's got a stamp for me. Froglight Shop is now open. Frog key or 1 diamond lets you play Ravager Rush. Well, as you can tell, I've got plenty of diamonds here. I am very ready to play Ravager Rush, thanks to B-Dubs. And hey, we got some frog coins as well, toward some frog lamps, which we could always use more of those for our build. Oh wait, why am I taking all this stuff out of here? I should go ahead, leave that in there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's head over to Ravager Rush and give that a go. Time skip. Here it is! It's Etho's now open Frogger, aka Ravager Rush. What's your hurry? I know what mine is. I want to put that key in the thing. Ah, that's a bush. Okay, here we go. So, we've got 1 key that I think we put in there. Hey! Note blocks music or jukebox music. I'm going to do music off because I don't know how this is going to get edited. Right-click bed and set spawn. Your items are auto-collected. Okay. So we have right-clicked the bed and set our spawn. I'm hoping the items are auto-collected because that shulker is pretty valuable. Respawn. So now I'm here. Oh, I'm on the other side of the bed. Okay. So there is an exit on either side, I guess. What are we looking at? Let's think this through. So we've got Ravagers going left to right in the second row and right to left in the first row. So Etho says the safest time is to go just right after the Ravager. Uh-oh. This is going okay. Uh-oh, that's gonna be a problem there. Whoa. Whoa, I can't believe we survived that. Well, not long. Not for long. Okay. Okay. That went all right, I guess. So, okay, so now we're pushed down here. Okay, so right after that guy goes, and after that guy goes, and then after that guy goes. I feel like we're not running. What is going on with that? Oh, no! That is a wall of some kind. Okay. That guy is coming toward me. Is he blocked in some way? No. Oh, no. Chef not washing. Why does it feel like I'm not running? Does he have a slow floor or something in here? Ow. There's Sunday Driver. Is there honey under the floor? Oh no, honey is a recurring motif. Now this episode's gonna make more sense. Okay. Okay. I can do this. I am a strong and brilliant, creative person who's about to get hit by a Sunday Driver. Okay. How many lives do I have left? Uh-oh. Oh, is it forcing me to the exit? Throw potion at your feet to exit. Okay. Respawn. That's a really cool system. Take your stuff. Okay. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I want to give this a few more goes. So, does it show my score? Did I get a score? I might have gotten no score because I had 0. Does it put a score of 0 in? Or maybe it just takes time to circulate my score through. Okay. Well, I want to do that again. Let's go ahead and get some diamonds out. All right. So I didn't quite... All right. So I didn't score any points, so I don't get a score box. But you know what? I've got enough diamonds. I feel like we can give this that old college try. Let's go. Okay. So, I've already clicked the bed, but I guess I can click it again just for peace of mind. Respawn. Now I get pushed here. Okay. So, keeping in mind that I'm gonna go slow. Uh-oh. Sunday Driver. Dang it. Are there different sized gaps between them? There probably are. I bet if I could... Okay. Oh, interesting. There's something penning him back there. Oh, Sunday Driver again. Etho had mentioned that jumping makes you go faster, and I didn't understand why. But I'm realizing if this is a honey floor, that would definitely make me go faster. Joel says, no pressure, but I got a score of 33 earlier. Yep, no pressure at all. I've gotten a score of 0 so far, but you know what? Okay. I've got a maybe... Okay. What if I put the fixed camera down? Is this gonna be really dumb? Hey, look at me. I can kind of see better. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not sure that was a good call. Oh no, now I can't see where I am up here. Okay. So... Oh, was that... Am I done? Oh, no. Okay, good thing I've got so many diamonds. Okay, take your stuff. I like the way that it doesn't open until you take your stuff. That would have been a good decked out... Like, because Tango had the presence of mind to make the, take your stuff voice thing, but he didn't stop the door from opening. So, Etho just subtly showing up Tango. Okay, here we go. See, that one there looked like he was closely behind the other one, but there's some sort of delaying mechanism, like some sort of loop or something there. So you can't just watch when the one previous goes in and expect to get it. Ow. I keep getting hit from the side I'm not looking at, which makes me think I need to waggle my view a lot more, but I don't like doing that because I worry it's disorienting for the viewers, but... Me getting killed nonstop is probably also disorienting for the viewers. Okay, so let's go. Uh-oh, that's a problem. Okay. So in B-Dubs' episode, which I've already told you guys I watched, he had Corrales try the Quake Pro FOV. So I'm going to put in a replay mode marker here, because I know this might make some of y'all sick. Oh my gosh, I am not used to playing at this field of vision. I'm having my own troubles. So yeah, we might switch over to replay mod for this segment. Oh, I'm dead already. Dang it. Okay, now I really cannot play this game. Normal. So wait for him to go past, and that one to go past. And then I dodge that one, dodge that one, dodge that one, dodge that one. Whoa. Okay, inadequate plumbing. I at least made it to the river. Woo! Okay, let's... Maybe not full Quake Pro, but 90-degree FOV. That's just enough to give me more peripheral vision here. So where did the zombie end up? Whoa! Apparently the zoom key with that FOV is not good. You don't want to do that. Don't press the zoom key with that FOV. We accidentally went to hyperspace. There's the zombie. Okay. Okay. So, jump, 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 jump. Snake! It's a snake! Oh, it's a snake. Whoa, almost there, almost there. What? Yeah! Woo! Hey, we got the That's George Jetson. Okay, so let's see if we can get his boy Elroy. No, we could not. Still, we got a score that time. Let's go find out what our score was. Okay, well, it looks like our score was September ×1 and no points. Really? Really? No points? Even though I got across, did I take too long? I don't know what happened there. I didn't get any frog coins either. Yeah, the timer was already at 0, I guess. I must have taken too long just reading the playfield. But that's okay. We've got 7 more diamonds allocated for attempts. Let's see some highlights. Okay, I'm trying to get the big points by going fast, but it's not paying off. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's paying off. Yeah, there it is! Woo! I actually got points, I think, that time, because I didn't delay. Unlike the first the first victory I got, where I stood here watching the patterns for so long, it ended up being worth nothing. And then it turns out the pattern's randomized. So it's like, oh boy, I'm glad I got no points for that run. Great planning. Like, if it's gonna be randomized, well, I probably should watch the first one, or whatever. But, okay, let's find out what our score is. Woo! Get hype! Hey, so the Take Your Stuff box has 6 frog coins, because presumably I got 6 points. Nice, nice, nice. And then let's go check the scoreboard box. Does that reflect that in here? Hey, score times 6. So, hey, whoa. We're tied with Cub Fan. We're ahead of Scar and Gem. Okay, and we've got 4 diamonds left to go. That's actually, I'm feeling pretty good about that. That's kind of nice. Let's go ahead and put these frog coins in the shulker box just to keep things streamlined here. And let's give it 4 more attempts. So, those 2 just went by. That seems like the best time to now fly this way, but not into him. I mean, I was being pursued on the other side pretty quick, but... Okay, so we're gonna wait for row 1 and 2 to go by, like they just did. Now we're gonna chase that guy, and then we're gonna cut over here. Uh-oh. Yep. Okay, the thing is, the lane we went into last time is gonna be closed now. Oh, wait, no, it's not, because it's a new game. Oh, we could have gone on the far left. I did not think that through. And I didn't think this through either. So we're about to have two problems, as the kids say. There we go. This is one of those games I'm only going to get better at by bashing my head against the wall on. And I'm excited by that, because I'm having fun playing it. And so anything I'm having fun playing, I don't mind continuing to play. I know, though, that the way my brain works, I need to take breaks in between those play sessions. So this is going to be our last attempt for right now. If I can beat that 6 points from earlier, I'd be really happy. But once again, this is just my first day playing this, and that's how we learn. We're going to... Uh-oh. Hey, there we go. Woo! I don't know if we got better than 6 there. Okay, so we're going to give this... Now, we can't go in that one. You see how that one's got the lights there and a wall? We can't go in that one twice. We're going to have to go in a different one now. Ah, Sunday Driver got me. I need to get better at looking both ways as I'm crossing the street. Oh, I didn't look either way. Okay, looking either way when I cross the street, also a good idea. Okay. My score is 7, so hey, I already beat my earlier score. Uh-oh. Ah. Well, hey, you know what? 7, I'll take it. Woo! This is such a cool setup. I'm really happy, like, that Etho took the time to build something so thoughtful and well-designed. I know this took longer for him to do than he was hoping, but the payoff here is huge. This is a lot of fun. So thank you, Etho, if you're watching. And, yeah, let's go ahead and update our scorebook here. Take book. We are now actually ahead of Cub Fan, which is shocking. Cub Fan's going to come back here and max this out later. I'm sure of it. But, hey, 7 points ahead of Cub, Scar, and Gem. Fantastic. I really need to head back to my base and actually get some work done. And, oh yeah, I had a bunch of stories about the wedding and honeymoon I wanted to share while I do a little bit of stuff over there. Before we head back to my base, though, I do want to stop by Cubs and buy some of those discount fireworks. You might say, Joe, why didn't you buy discount fireworks earlier? Well, the thing is, last time I bought fireworks from Cub, I bought so many that he didn't need diamonds anymore, and then put them all on sale. And then I had no diamonds with which to purchase the newly discounted fireworks, since I had just emptied my bank, basically, into Cub's coffers. So now that B-Dubs has paid me a small fortune for name tags, I can actually go buy more fireworks. Yay! It's been like 2 or 3 weeks since I've had enough fireworks. Time skip. I can't actually firework away because I don't have any. Welcome to Kaboom! Yay! So while I was gone, did Cub restore the green? Hey, look at that. We got chroma green.
That's the son of the popo.
Oh no.
Permit office on patrol. That's the son of the popo.
I do not need this right now. Everybody be cool. Maybe they haven't seen us. Maybe they're pulling over Pearl. Just stay cool.
I'm behind you, Joe.
God! It's you. I was hoping that you were like pulling Pearl over or something. It's fine.
She's my next target.
Oh, how can I help you today, officer?
Joe, I've noticed you've been out of flame books for like 2 months. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I was just away for like 10 days for my wedding and honeymoon. So it really, I've only been out of flame books for, let's say, like 5-6 weeks, really, not 2 months. You know, that's totally different.
I won't find you today, Joe. Congratulations on the wedding.
Yay.
Joe, there are hermits in need of flame and punch. Think about these hermits out there, dying over and over again, losing their bows repeatedly, and then not being able to enchant new bows. Could you think of the hermits, Joe? Specifically me.
You know what? I've spent a whole week trying to think of nobody but my newlywed spouse. So you know what? I'm going to expand my mind this week and think about you as well, Scar. I will endeavor to restock the shop post-haste.
Okay, that's good, Joe. That's good.
Okay, so I feel like that's enough rockets for now. But also, while we're here, we burned through a lot of rockets. So we basically bought them out of the chroma green. Let's buy some teal ones, too. Flight duration 3, cyan. Yeah, there we go. And, yeah, these are also 1 diamond per stack. Oh, man, these are great rates compared to what we were paying before, I feel like. Bundles of various types. 3 diamonds per bundle. I mean, you can't go wrong with a bunch of fireworks. And a bundle of fireworks is basically better. So, okay. Whew. Look at this inventory. Bundles of fireworks, more fireworks, and we still have enough diamonds to play Etho's game 80 times. I mean, I'm not going to say that money can buy happiness, but it can definitely relieve some stress. So, there's B-Dubs' little mountain. You'll see that in the thumbnail of his latest video. That was the video where he gave me all these diamonds. I really appreciate it, B-Dubs. Thank you. That was incredibly thoughtful of you to provide me with all these diamonds while you pranked Joel somehow. So you probably want to check out Joel's video too when that comes out with his response. Anyway, we are on our way back to my place. Look at that. Beautiful rockets. See, I can use the overworld now and actually, like, enjoy how things look, which is nice. Let's go ahead. We can even... Oh, we can't consolidate this. I was going to say, there's probably a way to get one of the fancy fireworks out of the bundle. There it is. Let's see how fancy this one is. Woo! Creepers! Very fancy. Again. Woo! I'm loving that. If you can't tell by looking at this, inventory management is my passion. Time skip! Haven't just completed Etho's Frogger game better than any other hermit except for the several that were ahead of me at Etho's Frogger game. I am back here to begin work on the back side of the Hermit Homedale Research and Development Facility. Now, I'm probably going to make this a museum rather than an R&D facility like it was in the original Bell Labs, but in order to get the walls the way I wanted them, I realized I was going to have to fudge the dimensions a little bit. So you can see the black line is where the original markers were. And then I've used dirt to extend this so it'll be more aesthetically pleasing. This is going to be off by about 2 meters on both sides, but considering this is a 1600 by 1600 block area that we're kind of terraforming and doing here, I feel like fudging 6 meters is going to be okay. So, now that we've cleared out some space along either side of that marked area and begun putting in the packed ice that will make up the mirrored glass walls, I figure I'm going to go ahead and jump into telling y'all some stories about my wedding, since I promised that earlier, and I'm not a liar. So here we go. As you can see, there is plenty of places to place the mirrored ice. Packed ice technically serving as mirrored glass in the construction of this build. But you know what? That's fine. It's good to have something nice and chill to place while we talk a little bit about what I've been doing the last few weeks and days. Spoiler alert! I got married. I think we talked about that earlier. It's probably in the title of the video, maybe the thumbnail. You know what? Before, I know I promised I was going to talk about the wedding and then the honeymoon. But let's just back up for a second and talk about the wedding planning process. The wedding planning process is incredibly stressful. And I just want to do a huge shout out to my now spouse, Badger Spanner. I'm going to say fiance a lot because I'm used to saying my fiance, Badger Spanner. But my then fiance, now spouse, Badger Spanner, was amazing at finding the perfect wedding rings for us. We had looked at like a bunch of different options, and Badger knew a silversmith in England who unfortunately was unavailable. But like we talked about like what sorts of things that person could do for us and kind of figured out where we wanted to end up. And then even when that silversmith in particular turned out to be unavailable given the timeline that we had, you know, we were still able to find something. I say we. Badger found something awesome. So we've got these awesome matching silver wedding rings that have kind of a hammered look to them. And there's a great picture of Badger holding a cell phone with a case that looks exactly like the bottom of a pool, while also showcasing the wedding ring. Let me put that on screen for you real quick. Because, yeah, we got to the pool on our honeymoon, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that is the absolute worst case for you to drop that in the pool. We will never find it. You mind if I take a picture real quick? And coincidentally, got a great photo of the ring. We don't really have a photo of the rings together. Maybe that's something we would do if we were hobbits. Do hobbits take pictures of rings? I think they mostly eat breakfast. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. Wow, there's a lot of stone in my way. You know, I'd like to point out that I just had like a 4-hour time lapse I condensed into like 3 minutes of me clearing out all the stone that was going to be in the way for me to tell this story. And I 100% just missed this part. Like this part here, completely did not notice it. This is why we iterate. Everything I do on HermitCraft is very iterative because I'm terrible at planning. So, anyway, Badger absolutely nailed picking out the wedding rings. I am super happy with how those turned out. And yeah, so let's jump forward to actual wedding stuff. I was incredibly nervous about the wedding. 100% confident about the marriage. 100% confident in the person I was going to marry. But I was super nervous that we were inviting people from England and all over the country to come over here to Nashville, Tennessee for a wedding. And what if something didn't work out? So I had backup plans on top of backup plans, and we didn't need any of them. Everything actually basically worked out. And so even though there might be some bits where I'm telling stories about how all this went, where it's like, uh-oh, Joe, this is stressing me out. Spoiler alert, everything went fine. I ended up not needing any of my backup plans. We did have to improvise a little bit or, like, roll with the punches here and there. Like, for example, when we got the instructions about the wedding from the judge's assistant, she asked me on the phone, she's like, okay, so how many people do you have attending the wedding? Because we might want to do it in the courtroom, but if it's not that many, we can just do it in the judge's chambers. And I was like, 35. And she's like, oh, 35. Okay, yeah, we'll do that in the courtroom. I'm like, cool, sounds great. And I said, okay, cool. So how much does it cost to get married in a courtroom? And the judge's assistant said, oh, nothing. It's free. It is a service we provide all citizens of Davidson County. Judge Hayes loves doing this, and we're happy to do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the absolute best, because anywhere else you could get married in Davidson County, you're going to be spending a lot of money. I mean, you could rent a pavilion in a park for $30, but in August or early September in Nashville, that is going to be potentially like 97 degrees. We did a HermitCraft signing in a pavilion in a park in Nashville in September a few years back, and it was 97 degrees. And I had enough fans for everybody, unless we needed to point all of those fans at Scar's life-saving equipment so it didn't overheat. And then we had no fans for anyone but Scar's equipment. And I learned something that day. It's, if you can do something indoors in September in Nashville, do it indoors in September in Nashville. So, anyway, the judge's assistant gives me these instructions that are, get everyone through security, and then come up to the whatever floor, I'm not going to say, and ring the buzzer, and I'll let you know, I'll come out and I'll let you know what courtroom the wedding's going to be in. And then you just let your people down waiting on the inside of security, you know, which courtroom to proceed to. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's a little scary, but, you know, because it'd be nice to be able to say, hey, guys, proceed just directly to this space. But you know what? We'll find out the day of. That's fine. So I end up, like, the day of the wedding, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to head over there. I'm going to call the lift to go to the courthouse like 20 minutes early, just in case there's any problems finding the courtroom or whatever. But so I call the lift, and the driver cannot find where I'm waiting for him, and drives around like a several block area multiple times. And I'm just like, that's okay. That's why I padded this in, right? And then I get to the courthouse, and I ring the buzzer, and the assistant isn't there. So I wait, and then I send an email to the assistant, and I ring the buzzer again, like a few minutes, like after I'm done writing the email, like, hey, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. And another, like, judge's assistant comes through and sees me outside the door to, like, where all their offices are, waiting by the buzzer, and is like, who are you looking for? I'm like, so-and-so, I'm supposed to get married. They said they'd tell me what courtroom to go to. He's like, okay, hold tight here, I'll go in and find them. And, yeah, can't find him. And is like, well, you know what? I think the judge was supposed to be doing weddings on the 3rd floor in this room. So go to that courtroom on the 3rd floor. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks, I really appreciate it. So I go back down to the lobby where all our guests are. We got about 3 dozen guests. And I'm like, okay, everybody, we're getting on the elevators, going up to the 3rd floor. And elevators in the courthouse cannot carry 3 dozen people. So it takes several trips to get everybody up to the 3rd floor. And when we get up there, there's another, like, 2 dozen people there for another wedding, presumably, you know, with the same judge. And I'm like, okay, cool, we're in the right place. So we're waiting for a while. And eventually the judge's assistant finds me. And, oh, wait. Before the judge's assistants find me, let me tell you a little bit about the word. Let's etymologically break down the word groom. Okay, so as I'm standing there in my suit, getting ready to get married, waiting outside this courtroom on the 3rd floor, all of these people keep coming up to me, licking their hands and touching my hair and being like, Joe, your hair's just a little off. And, like, I normally wear a hat or have a ponytail, but I'm, like, getting married, so I had, like, brushed it. But I've been, like, running around, getting in elevators and everything. And so everybody keeps licking their hands and grooming me while I'm, like, waiting to be able to go in. And, yeah. So I'm just like, well, okay, well, this makes as much sense as anything else today. That's fine. You know, just gonna make a mental note of where that word came from. Eventually, the judge's assistant shows up and is just like, hey, are you Joe? And I'm like, yeah, good to meet you. And she's like, okay, so the judge got hung up in a case that's running long, or a trial that's running long, down on the 1st floor. So we need everybody to go down to the 1st floor. And by everybody, she didn't just mean the, 36 people, 2 dozen people in our group, but also the 2 dozen people in the other wedding. So we've got 5 dozen people, 60 people, all loading in to a small amount of elevators, trying to get down to the 1st floor so we can get to the courtroom where the judge was stuck in a trial that was running long. And so the assistant has us file in while somebody is actually, like, making a statement, and I don't remember the exact statement, but it was something along the lines of, it was approximately 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was driving at 35 miles an hour along such and such road, when suddenly I felt something jam into the car from behind. I noticed in my mirror, blah, 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 blah. And, it's just like, oh boy, this is serious stuff. As soon as that person concluded giving their statement, the judge is like, well, we're well into lunchtime. This is running long. And so before we move on to questioning, let's go ahead and take a quick break so that we can have 2 weddings. And seriously, if you have the opportunity to get married in Davidson County because you're a Davidson County resident who wants to get married in a courthouse here, Judge Hayes is amazing. It was actually really reassuring seeing the other couple get married first. I could imagine some people being like, my wedding is my special day. I don't want to share it with anybody. But let me tell you, first off, you're wrong. You're already sharing it with your future spouse. Second, you're sharing it with whoever is witnessing the wedding and the officiant. You're already sharing your special day. And let me tell you, sharing your special day with another couple getting married that you don't know, and they do it first. Well, we had never gotten married in a courthouse before, and there's no rehearsal for this, even though we had a rehearsal dinner the night before, which my pal and best man, Wafzilla, gave a really good speech. He did like a Mad Libs thing where he had posted a bunch of Mad Libs prompts to my Patreon Discord and had them help with one segment of the speech. It went really well. But anyway, so we had a rehearsal dinner, but we had no rehearsal because with a courtroom wedding, you don't really control anything. You don't control the order of events, you don't control the music, you don't control the decorations. And let me tell you, as somebody who has to make choices constantly at work, I'm tired. I don't want to do it. I'm done. I'm on break. I'm getting married. You know, it was the best wedding ever. And I'm glad that I keep wanting to say fiance, my then fiance, now spouse, were on the same page as I on this because, like, it was just super easy and streamlined. And the fact that we got to see another couple do it first meant, like, oh, hey, way less stress. That wasn't so bad. You know, the judge gave nice little speeches to both of us that were slightly different. So it wasn't just like, okay, here's my one wedding speech. I hope that you're not, you know, watching me do it twice in a row. And so anyway, it was a really fun time getting married to my favorite person. And like I said, I had backup plans on backup plans. I was like, you know, if there's an emergency at the courthouse and they can't have us get married that day, like a security lockdown or something, it's like the place where we had our reception, like, had a small stage and enough room that both my best man and one of the other guests were technically like registered wedding officiants. And even though they're not like proper ministers religiously speaking, and it might not have looked as good on the immigration stuff, they legally could marry us. They had completed the training. We had 2 people prepared to marry us if the thing with the judge in the courthouse didn't go through. And some people said, like, Joe, you're so cost conscious. Why even have a reception? Well, for one thing, that was all our fallback location for the wedding. And for another thing, if you have people coming from out of state and out of the country, you need to have at least some, like, sandwiches from the local barbecue place and Jersey Mike's or whatever. Maybe a few salads and some cookies. Like, we didn't go all out on the food. We didn't do a proper sit-down dinner or anything. But, like, I feel like if you're inviting people from out of the country, you need to serve them at least one meal, even if it's a buffet lunch. So, anyway, we didn't have to use the reception place as the emergency wedding venue, but we could have if we needed to. But anyway, Judge Hayes, absolutely amazing. Strongly recommend to anybody considering getting married in Davidson County. It was fantastic. The courtroom had plenty of seating. Like, our 3 dozen people filled like 2 rows of benches, maybe 2.5. Like, and there were a lot of rows of benches. We could have maybe had 150 to 180 people in there and been okay. And so, like, you know, I know there's kind of a stigma about, like, oh, you got married at the courthouse, but, like, you know what? I think, you know, a lot of people will say, like, oh, yeah, the wedding isn't the important thing, it's the marriage. But also, don't get married in a courthouse. I'm like, no, get married however you want. Like, I don't know. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And, you know, I keep wanting to say my fiance, but yeah, Badger also was very happy. It worked out well. And so we had a great little ceremony, and the judge had one of the officers of the court, I think it might have been one of the bailiffs, because they had like a badge, take photos and then print them, because the court can't, like, I think there's some like legal restrictions on them like emailing photographs taken in the courtroom off site. So they have like a photo printer in the judge's office. And like, I think the judge just paid for those photos out of pocket because we didn't pay for them. But yeah, so the judge printed us off some nice photos, which I posted on my website. I didn't originally plan to post them publicly. I didn't have a plan to not post them publicly, but like, I was like, I'll worry about that when I get to it. And I realized, like, oh, when we send these to our guests, some of them might put them on Facebook or something anyway. And so, like, they're going to get out. I might as well just put them on my own website. I thought about putting them on Twitter and stuff, but, like, realistically, I don't want to count on Twitter being there in 10 years. And also, I didn't want to have to enter the alt text for the photos every time. So I'm like, I'll just upload them to one place and then link it from Blue Sky and Twitter and all that. But yeah, so we got the beautiful photos that were taken by, I wish I could credit the person. I should have asked their name. I think it was probably on the badge. But yeah, but they were a gift from the judge. And so that was really cool. And yeah, it was really cool. We had a fun party afterwards and had, you know, just drinks and food, and everybody hung out for a while. And then after that, we move on to the honeymoon. So even though the wedding went off really well, I was so exhausted and stressed out from all the planning and all the lead up that when it was time to actually, like, pack for the honeymoon, just to give you an example of where my brain was, I spent 20 minutes trying to find my jeans. And eventually, Badger asked me, "Are you wearing your jeans right now? The ones you want to pack?" And I'm like, "Yes, why didn't you tell me 20 minutes ago?" And Badger's like, "Because I couldn't believe that you would spend all this time looking for the clothes that you were literally wearing." And that's where my brain was. I was so wiped out that it made a lot of sense. We knew we were going to be wiped out from the wedding. So we planned a relatively local honeymoon to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is out in the Smoky Mountains right next to the park, Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And the plan was to have a few days to kind of just chill at the beginning. We got a hotel room with a balcony that overlooked a creek, and we actually saw a bear from the balcony. We hung out on the balcony a lot, and were able to kind of recover our mental energy from all the stress leading up to the wedding. And then the last few days, we actually did some stuff. Now, one thing that we did, the room also had, like, a huge television and a couch. Because it was one of those things, like, if you wanted to upgrade to the room that had the balcony with the creek view, you got a bunch of other stuff. And I had looked at this pretty hard. I don't like wasting money, but I was like, I know we're going to be wiped out the first few days of the honeymoon, and just having a nice place to sit outside and appreciate a creek is going to be good. So, yeah. I didn't know that we would actually end up using, like, the couch and the TV. But luckily, the TV actually had an HDMI in port, so I was able to hook up my laptop, and I picked up the movie Longlegs, which is a horror film. It's not appropriate for children. I don't recommend it for families, but you know what? It was a very well-made horror movie, and I actually enjoyed it so much. You know, like, what are these guys doing down here? You're gonna slip, you have the wrong shoes. Anyway, the movie Longlegs, it stars Nicolas Cage and a bunch of other very talented actors, and it's great. And, like, I've got some minor spoilers for it. So if you don't want to hear about the movie at all, I don't recommend you listen to the next few minutes of this. You can just jump ahead. Nom 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 nom. So anyway, since we're probably going to run out of ice pretty soon on the building, I figure while we talk about Longlegs, I would come over here and let this ice tray resaturate or recrystallize or whatever. As I was saying about the film Longlegs, I was watching it and I thought, boy, PopCap Games could make a video game out of that. It'd be kind of like Bejeweled, except instead of swapping around gems to match them up, the grid would be full of randomized porcelain parts of life-size dolls. You'd be reallocate until they were properly aligned into complete sets, at which point they'd completely disappear from the grid under a black veil and be replaced by new randomized doll parts. If you take too long, the bar that tracks the displeasure of the beast would fill up, and then the screen would go entirely black with red text scrolling up from the bottom that says, "Game over." But you know what? That's not all. I mean, I think a film should provoke more than one thought from the viewer. So, you know what, as I'm watching the film Longlegs, I started thinking to myself, boy, Lucas Pope could make a Playdate game out of that. You would play as Special Agent Lee Harker and use the crank on the side of the Playdate to scroll through newspaper archive microfiche rolls containing articles about unsolved grisly murders. You would have to compare details in the articles to your notes about different active serial killers, and then map the dates of each crime to its previously unassociated killer on a 365-day calendar in order to uncover the pattern of where each would strike next. So, you know, any movie that would give you two incredible video game ideas. I mean, that's gotta be a pretty good movie, right? I mean, it's got Nicolas Cage in it, it's thought-provoking, pretty darn good. But, let me tell you, that's not all. Oh, no, that is not all. Because, you know, as I was watching the film Longlegs, I started thinking to myself, boy, Alex Horn could make a VR video game of that. You play as Special Agent Dr. Miss Ruby Carter, and you work for the FBI as a psychiatrist administering screening tests for potentially psychic or preternaturally intuitive agents, so they could be assigned to track down serial killers with occult resonances. In addition to administering innovations on the slideshow number test shown in the film, you could also oversee tests where blindfolded agents need to accurately throw eggs at unseen targets, or guesstimate quantities of inconveniently packaged collections of differently sized similar items. Your mentor and boss, half-psychic Special Agent Lee Harker, would review footage of your tests, evaluate the results, and criticize you and the evaluees mercilessly. I mean, this just writes itself, basically. Like, Longlegs is clearly just an incredibly creative and inspiring movie, and I can't wait to see all three of those video games available on their respective platforms, you know, any day now. Because obviously, like, this is gonna happen. Okay, I'm just goofing off brainstorming video games. I should probably go work on my wall. I realize I'm telling these honeymoon stories a little bit out of order. Once again, as I said, everything generally worked out, but there was one kind of especially stressful bit right between the wedding and the honeymoon. I had to take I keep wanting to say future mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, to the airport, who was visiting from England, and make sure that she was all set up, and then head over to the rental car desk to pick up the rental car for the honeymoon. And so we get to the airport, and I take my mother-in-law up to the rental car desk, and they're just like, okay, that'll be $80 for these 2 bags. And she's like, we prepaid for the bags. And they're like, did you? And she holds up, like, some sort of, like, receipt for the tickets and stuff that has a bunch of fees on it, but no bag stuff listed. And the guy, like, has me come around to look at the computer from his side. And he's like, look, it says she reserved 2 bags, but it says they're unpaid. I don't know. And so I'm just like, okay, that's fine. Don't stress. You know, we'll just put it on my card, and, you know, because, like, at this point, I really want to go on my honeymoon. I do not want to hang out at the airport arguing about the cost of 2 bags, right? So I'm just like, look, I'll just cover it. Don't worry, it's fine. You know, don't want you missing your plane. I gotta get my car. It'll be fine. And so the guy at the curbside, you know, bag check computer thing is like, well, if she's this sure she paid for it, why don't you go inside and talk to customer service there? And I'm like, I'd really rather pay for it. He's like, well, I don't want you to pay twice. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So then we have to go queue to talk to actual customer service, who basically just, you know, I'm glad we spent, you know, an extra 20 minutes to confirm what the guy had told us in the first place, so I could pay those $80 and go down finally to the rental car office. So I'm like a little bit frazzled already. And we get to the rental car. I get to the rental car office, and it turns out that for some reason, my bank is rejecting the charge. And so I spent like an hour on the phone with the bank, and it's like a call center in another country. It's not the bank itself, because this is on like a weekend. And eventually the person goes, oh, well, you know what? I'm in card services, and I think the problem you're running into is a customer service issue. You need to talk to customer service at the bank itself between 9 and 5, Monday through Friday. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to rent a car now. And the guy's like, well, you can rent a car Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And I'm like, okay, I'm really disappointed now that at the beginning of this call, it asked me if I wanted to press 1 to take a survey afterwards. And I didn't press 1 because I was like, I'm just trying to get in my car and leave. But I'm deeply disappointed in everyone I've spoken to. This has been a massive waste of everyone's time. Thank you. So, you know, that was fun. So at that point, I'm pretty stressed. And I had been on the phone with the bank, pacing in the little rental car glass cubby thing in the parking garage for a long time. Like, long enough that, like, the, what do you call it? The airport cops or whatever had kind of shifted where they were posted. Because, like, you know, they're trained to read body language, and my body language was not happy. And so I'm just like, okay, it's fine. I'm sure I know somebody who can loan me a car for a week. So I call the best man, and he's like, yeah, we're already out of town, and we took both cars, sorry. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. He's like, if you wait until 9, we might have a car that you could use. And I'm like, it's like noon now. I don't really want to postpone the honeymoon by 9 hours. I want to be on the road. Anyway, so even before I called the best man, I'd called my dad, but he didn't answer. So I talked to the best man, found out, okay, I could borrow a car, but I have to wait until 9, which I don't want to do, but it's a good fallback option, you know? So at that point, I'm like, okay, well, I was going to leave the airport in a rental car, but I'm going to just call a Lyft and head home, because at this point, there's nothing left to be done at the airport, and I kind of get the vibe from the cops and security that they want to make sure I'm leaving the property, you know, despite not being very pleased. I didn't actually cause any problems or anything for the people at the desk, but, like, you know, you can kind of tell that if you're not happy, they're ready for you to escalate things, and I just don't want to do anything that's going to upset anybody. Because at this point, I am currently down 1 rental car, but I could have one at 9 o'clock at night at least, whatever. You know, I could borrow a car if I wait, you know, 9 hours. So I go to the Lyft and, like, what do you call it, rideshare part of the airport parking garage. I call the Lyft, and then my dad calls. And I'm like, Dad, you guys have more than 1 car. Can I borrow one for the week? I know that wasn't the plan, but I had a problem with the, you know, rental car thing and the bank, and I really need a car this week. And I could borrow one from so-and-so if I wait until 9, but, like, that's a lot of driving in the mountains late. I was really hoping to kind of be there by 4. And my dad's like, well, so, okay. Your sister borrowed the car to drive to the airport, so it's sitting in the garage of the airport right now. Can you get to the airport? And I'm like, Dad, I'm like stepping into a Lyft to leave the airport. And he's like, well, maybe cancel that. And, okay, so one of the windows, you can kind of push it down, and the keys are in the, and I'm like, okay, no, I've already got security watching me. I'm not going to go look like I'm breaking into a car. I'm getting into this Lyft, and, thanks. And my dad's like, okay, well, I was going to pick it up in 3 hours anyway. I can pick it up and bring it by your house. And, you know, and I was just like, okay, cool. Thank you, Dad. I'm willing to wait 3 hours to not to not risk getting hauled off by airport security. Like, you know, and as the sponsor of I keep wanting to say it technically was a fiancé visa. So, you know, as the sponsor of the fiancé visa, we're applying for the green card soon. I'm, you know, going to be the sponsor on that as the spouse. It's like, it looks real bad if I get picked up for, you know, car theft. Even if it's not theft, even if we can sort it all out later, I don't want to, like, wreck my honeymoon and immigration process now. So, fortunately, a few hours later, my dad had to come into town anyway for other reasons, and so he was able to bring the car over. But yeah, it was just like a whole thing. So I was very grateful to my parents for letting us borrow that car. But yeah, it was just one of those like, I thought we were through the worst of everything. Everything with the wedding went fine, and now immediately stuff's going wrong. But you know what? It turned out okay. We were able to borrow a car. It was a little bit less convenient for my mom while she was watching my daughter for the week, because that was the car that she was going to use. But luckily, you know, Nashville has pretty good mass transit, and you can get around on foot a lot, so it wasn't terrible. Whereas it is actually impossible, basically, to get to Gatlinburg from Nashville without a car. I am shocked that nobody has set up some sort of shuttle service or something for tourists. Like, if I didn't hate driving as much as I did, I would be putting all of my effort into trying to buy a small van or bus and setting up some sort of service between Nashville and Gatlinburg. Because there's people constantly posting on Reddit, I can't believe that there's no way to do this. And people are like, well, you can take a Lyft. It's just, you know, taking a Lyft for 3 hours is like hundreds of dollars. So it's cheaper to just rent a car at that point. And it's like, oh my gosh. Because it's like 3.5, 4 hours to get to Gatlinburg from here. But like, and technically there's an airport in Knoxville. You know, I could take a Greyhound to Knoxville, but there's no shuttle service between Knoxville and Gatlinburg, really. Like, that's what blows my mind. Like, you could make so much money. Like, basically pay the fee to get on the How to Get Here part of the Gatlinburg website. As, hey, Gatlinburg's only Knoxville to Gatlinburg shuttle provider. Like, I really hope somebody out there who loves driving and needs a change of pace. East Tennessee is beautiful. This is an opportunity. Like, I don't know why this doesn't exist. But, like, I should have been able to say, well, our first choice wasn't taking the Greyhound, but we'll take the Greyhound to Knoxville and then get the, you know, Gatlinburg shuttle service from Knoxville to Gatlinburg. It's not that far from Knoxville to Gatlinburg. But for whatever reason, that's just a market that nobody has cracked, and I don't know why. So if you're like, Joe, why are you even telling this story that stresses you out so much? It's because a better world is possible. A better world is possible. Someone out there, please establish mass transit or of some kind between Knoxville and Gatlinburg. It would just be a beautiful link in the tapestry of bad metaphors about American transport. Thank you. Okay, so to focus on more positive things, let's talk a little bit about the positives. Okay, one thing we did that was really fun. Y'all might have seen the downhill coaster that I built in the Nether in my last episode. The last episode with the downhill coaster was inspired partially by the fact that my fiance had requested, hey, while we're in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge in that area, could we go on some sort of downhill alpine coaster thing? And I was like, yes, that sounds awesome. So we went on a couple of them, and I really enjoyed both. The second one was better, though. And so in particular, I'm going to recommend the Alpine Coaster. Smoky Mountain Alpine Coaster, I think is the name of it. I'm not going to bother looking that up. But it's distinct from the other ones that we saw or rode on by virtue of actually going through the forest on the uphill part. So for all of these coasters, there's kind of like a little path at the beginning where they pull you up a hill or up a slope, and then you come back down, right? Gravity fed the whole way. And so, like, unlike a traditional roller coaster, there's like, you're in a car by yourself, and you have brakes. So if it's going too fast on the curves, you can slow yourself down a little, that sort of thing. You're supposed to keep a big, healthy distance of at least 80 feet between you and the next car, but basically, you don't control the max speed of the thing, other than by virtue of potential energy of your own weight, but you can lower your current speed if you want by applying the brakes, which on a few of the curves, I was just like, I'm going to slow down just a wee bit. I wasn't huge on the brakes, but did lightly tap them a little bit on some of the curves where I was like, I'm coming in pretty steep. That's going to be a lot of G's. But anyway, these things are really cool. The thing I liked about the Alpine one, though, was that the uphill segment was through dense forest. And so, depending on time of year you go, we went, early September, it was very, very beautiful. Whereas the other uphill one we did was just like, we're just going up a hill, whatever. You can see a mini golf course. That's fine. But just having that nice little solitary car dragged up a hill through the dense woods, it was just really soothing and relaxing in a way that I found particularly enjoyable. And then the downhill was awesome and fast, and also through dense woods for some parts of it. And it feels faster when you're surrounded by stuff, right? Like, it's cool that there's occasionally gaps where you can see big views and stuff, but the high density of the woods was nice. So that was a lot of fun. And, one thing that my fiance braved over the course of the trip was the Gatlinburg Space Needle. So, I don't know if you know a lot about Space Needles, but they're like towers with observation decks. And so the Gatlinburg Space Needle is a tower with an observation deck. It's about 400 feet up in the air. But because Gatlinburg is in a valley, you're actually still lower than the surrounding mountains. So that was really cool. I got some pictures from that. But yeah, I really enjoyed being able to like look out and see the entire valley that Gatlinburg is in. Because like we had been making plans about like, what are we going to do later this week? And like, I can just look down and see all the buildings that were on the map. And I can get a better sense of like where everything is. And, I can appreciate the mountains. It was just really cool going up there. They were down to one elevator, though. So they had a big sign, like, we only have one elevator. If you're going to have a problem walking down 400 feet of stairs, maybe don't do this. And it was one of those things where it's like, I think we could go down 400 feet worth of stairs. Maybe not up, but yeah, if the elevator takes us up and then we have to come down, like, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. So we went up there, and Badger's kind of hit or miss about heights. So this was Badger kind of taking a leap of faith for me, because I had really wanted to do this, and Badger was like, I don't know if it's going to be a problem or not. And fortunately, by virtue of being in a valley and surrounded by mountains that were higher than us, Badger said it didn't feel that bad, or bad at all, really. And so we had a lot of fun taking in the scenery, looking at the surrounding mountains. You could see Mount LeConte from up there. You can, like I said, see the whole valley. You can see the state park. It was just absolutely gorgeous up there. There's a lot of benches and stuff. So we walked around and we took some pictures. We sat around and just enjoyed each other's company. It was a lot of fun. And directly below that Space Needle is also an arcade. There's a couple arcades that have a decent selection of pinball machines in Gatlinburg. Red Rocket Arcade, where Badger beat me at Ghostbusters, like 679 million to 17 million. And, photo credit to Badger Spanner there for the high score. And that was a lot of fun. Badger loves that Ghostbusters game. I like it a lot. I clearly need to practice it more. But yeah, Badger got so many extra balls on ball 2 that it was like, okay, my hands are seizing up. I need a break. Okay. But yeah, that was a lot of fun playing Ghostbusters. Then in Arcadia, which is the arcade underneath the Space Needle, they had Phantom, which I'd never gotten to play. The DMD or dot matrix display on that was a little bit messed up, which wasn't great because I couldn't exactly tell what I was doing. But yeah, that I know the Phantom shows up in tournaments sometimes, so it was good to actually get some time flipping that. We got to play Bond's 60th. We got to play. They had. I think it was a limited edition Iron Maiden. It was in the very least a premium. Normally I play the Pro Iron Maiden in tournaments, so that was cool getting to have the ramp flip up and the orb light and everything. But yeah, we had a lot of fun with their... I think they had a limited edition Jurassic Park, so that was cool. Another Keith Elwin game. Big fan of those Elwin designs. Yeah, Iron Maiden, Bond 60th, and Jurassic Park were the hits of that arcade for us, I think. Unfortunately, the Deadpool had a bad fuse and the flippers wouldn't flip. And I suggested to one of the techs there... I don't know, I guess he wasn't a tech because he didn't work on the machines, but I'm not used to pinball places having employees that aren't techs, I guess. But whatever. But yeah, so the worker at the arcade, I was like, hey, just so you know, the Deadpool has a bad fuse, the flippers won't flip. And he's like, is that what's wrong with it? We don't know how to fix those. I was like, well, you should maybe turn it off so people stop putting money in it. Because he's like giving us a refund for like the money we put in the Deadpool. And he's like, well, we're not really allowed to turn games off. I'm like, even if they're broken? He's like, yeah, they would rather we just refund people who complain. And I'm like, that doesn't seem great. Oh well. But yeah. It was on the whole a fun time. Sorry, I'm like I don't know why I'm including the negatives with the positives. But I will say that there's another opportunity for people who want to like live that Gatlinburg Smoky Mountain life. They clearly need qualified pinball technicians out there. Because there were a few problems with a few machines. Nothing too major, but just like little things where it's like, oh man, I could fix this with the right part in 20 minutes. And I'm not even that great at pinball machine maintenance. You know, I rented a few machines from Don't Panic Flip for a while, but like, you know, like it's a shame that these machines that are nearly functional are currently inoperable because they would be functional with just like a fuse replacement. So, I don't know. I really like Gatlinburg and East Tennessee in general. It's a beautiful place. So I hope you all get the chance to visit sometime. I would not mind. I like living somewhere where there's a lot going on. So it's like, man, if I was going to live out in the country, I would want to live within driving distance of some place like that where it's like, hey, there's a pinball arcade and stuff. Even though there's not tournaments. That's the other thing is somebody really could organize pinball tournaments out there. I mean, they have enough machines at Arcadia. If you had somebody who was qualified to be a tech on them and to run the tournaments, I mean, you could have a burgeoning pinball scene with a bunch of random visitors coming through all the time for tournaments, you know? I had a lot of fun on my honeymoon, and I'm so pleased to have that wedding behind us. It is time, though, to say goodbye to the HermitCraft server for today. This building, it's coming along. We got 2 more walls in. This mountain, we're removing it. Yay, that's pretty great. You know, though, one thing I noticed today is that this episode was mid-roll ad-free. That's thanks to Patreon patron Drew Baca. Thanks, Drew Baca. Yay! In lieu of that mid-roll ad, I will now present a poetry prompt so that you can write a poem of your own devising and share it in the YouTube comments section below. Space Needle. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.